What's up YouTube, Webbers5 here coming at you today with a deck profile update with Endymion, simply because we just got banless guys and servants back at 3, so I basically spent all of today brainstorming the deck, figuring it out, what changes I wanted to make for both with servant and for the upcoming format. I think I've got it pretty much set up, so I wanted to show you guys now. But before I get to the profile, quick couple of shout outs, which I think I've forgotten to do over the past couple of weeks, so shoutouts to Kamikaze and Omar Gabriel. Thank you so much guys, you're the reason my channel's growing stronger. And now without further ado guys, let's get into my Spellbook Endymion. Okay guys, so starting the profile off with the Endymion side, playing 3 Mighty Master, 3 Servant, 1 Reflection, 1 Magister, 2 Jackal King, 3 Spellbook Mastery, 2 Citadel, and 1 Terraforming. So naturally, pump the Servant back up to 3, drop Reflection down to 2, since naturally now it's much easier for me to get a low scale, and I figured the rest of it is just kind of the right number. I was tempted to try and pump Magister up to 2, but I think for the moment I'm happy with it at 1. Next, going into the Spellbook lineup. This has increased quite a bit because I've picked up a few extra Spellbooks. So playing 2 Magician of Prophecy, 1 Jalgun as my Spellbook of Judgment target, 3 Spellbook of Secrets, the 1 Judgment, 1 Spellbook of Wisdom, 2 Spellbook of Knowledge, and recent editions of what I've just picked up. 1 Spellbook of Fate, 1 Spellbook of the Master, 1 Spellbook of Eternity, and 1 Spellbook Star Hall. So the bottom 4 are not essential, but since I was able to pick them up, I figured why not, because Spellbook of Fate is really useful. Eternity naturally combos really well with Fate. Master is just generically a pretty useful card. And Star Hall, I figured why not, because it's another card that gains spell counter, so it's got a bit of synergy. But naturally I wanted a bit of additional spellbooks to be able to resolve Judgment, and also different names helps with Crowley. But if you guys are in the position of working in a budget and you can't afford things like Spellbook of Fate or Master, then you could play like budget alternative options such as Grand Spellbook Tower, which is quite cheap because it got reprinted in gold, and also Spellbook of Power, which got printed alongside the Endymion structure deck. So those are just potential options you can have. Personally guys, the Spellbook engine's not completely essential, but I find it's just really good, so I figured why not. We play a lot of spells, so we're one of the decks that can very easily take advantage of Judgment, so I figured why not. Next, I'm going into my restage. Still playing on my restage package, so I'm playing 1 Illusion of Chaos, 3 Magician's Souls, 1 Magician's Right Hand, and 3 Magician's Restage. So I still really like this engine. I still think it's really good. With Restage, with the combination of Souls and Restage, it's really easy to just link climb into Selene. And then naturally the synergy of Restage and Souls of sending it to Search Right Hand as a disruption. Illusion I feel is also really useful particularly with the Spellbook engine, because if you've got say if you've got maybe 1 too many Spellbooks in your hand, so that you won't be able to say resolve Judgment at the end phase for the monster you want, you can go Illusion, add Souls, put back 1 of the Spellbooks. Or say if you hit into the Jalgun, which isn't necessarily ideal, again you can just go reveal Illusion to put back the Jalgun. But that being said, opening Jalgun's not necessarily a bad thing, but it kind of depends what you're trying to do. And for those in the position that are kind of working on a budget and you can't afford things like Magician's Souls or Illusion of Chaos, that's quite easy to fix, because you can just go 3 Master Cerberus, 3 Mythical Institution, and then just kind of mix and match your personal preference between things like Garuda, Jackal, or Basilisk. Because frankly, guys, there's nothing wrong with the Mythical Beast engine. I just kind of like the options that I can get off Magician's Souls. But frankly, there's no reason to be using the Mythical Beast engine unless you just don't feel like it, which is kind of a position I'm in. So. And frankly, guys, if I wasn't playing the restage package, I would probably be using just the Mythical Beasts. And last couple of cards in my deck, just the one-ofs. So 1 Instant Fusion and 1 Upstart Goblin. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Moving into the extra deck, playing 1 Artemis, just because she's really useful in terms of the Magician's Soul's restage package of Link climbing into Crowley, who's actually really good for trying to turbo into your Selene. Crowley is also quite useful since I'm playing a higher Spellbook ratio with Judgment, so really useful in that. But personally, guys, if you're not playing the restage package, then you don't really have a reason to play Artemis, so don't worry about that. And then playing Millenniumize Restrict as my primary instant fusion target, and since I've readjusted my extra deck slightly, added back my Thousand Eyes Restrict as a sub target for instant fusions. Because typically Millenniumize is really good going first to protect myself from a hand trap, but Thousand Eyes is really useful going second, so I can just rob a monster. That's doing me a problem. And naturally, I also put it back in because of Kashtira, because I've checked out the new XZs, which is essentially a Macrocosmos, which is not very good for this deck. So this just gives me an easy option to try and get around it, unless it just banishes my thing face down. But anyway, continuing on, other monsters I'm playing. 1 Access Code, 1 Appaloosa, Dark Charmer, IP Masquerena for Nightmare Unicorn, Blinked Anima. Again, guys, if you're not playing Magician's Souls, you don't necessarily have a reason to go into Anima. But that being said, if you're playing the Mythical Beast engine, then you've also got Jackal, which can go into this as well. Blackluster Soldier of Chaos, Top Legend Zerberus, and Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So essentially the last bits are kind of just situationals. Underworld Goddess is just really good to out a monster that you can't destroy, target, whatever. You can just essentially kaiju it away and summon this. Zerberus I brought back into my extra because I figured why not, with things like Kashtira, Runics, which are doing a lot of banishing. It's just a good way to get a big monster on the field. Blackluster Soldier, I figured, sure, give myself a nice backup option, because I also know now that with Lithosa Gym, and I've seen what Kashtira can do in terms of banishing stuff from your extra deck, so just gives me a nice backup option there. And moving into my side deck, this is my current draft of what I'm going with for my side for this format. Still playing my 1 Gravekeeper's Curse as my time option, because it combos with Judgment. Just a level 3 spellcaster that burns for 500 on summon. 2 Triple Tactics Talents, because this card's going to be really good this format with the amount of stuff that decks are doing on your opponent's turn. So, well, on your turn technically. So, figured why not. The next 6 cards I'm playing are essentially very primarily hate for Kashtira. Playing 3 Kurkar Div Incarnate and 3 Book of Eclipse. So Eclipse essentially just be able to. So the Eclipse naturally that's to, if say they've got multiple of the Shangri-La and they've chosen to lock out your Pendulum zones, you can at least go. The effect is only applied while it's face on one field, so you can just go Book of Eclipse, put it face down, get rid of the effect. Or the other option is Div Incarnate. So if they've used their effect, so if say you found a way to bait one of their because if Shangri-Ira is activated its effect and expand my face to summon a Kashtira, and you can find a way to bait an effect that would say force them to do one of their banished effects, they can go effective both my Shangri-Iras, take out 2 of your zones, and then also the effect of the new XZs can attach a banished card, so that will force that to activate, and then you just distribute your board, summon Div Incarnate, get a massive boost, smack for damage, and then at the end phase you can res one of those monsters you tributed. A good example would probably be the new Kashtira XZs, because it's a macro, because then you can put your opponent under a Macrocosmos. And then the last couple bits in my side deck, play 3 Raigeki just as generic removal, and 3 Rivalry of Warlords as my going first option. Because I understand, because there's still lots of decks that can't play in Rivalry, like Sprite and Tears. Even though those decks got hit quite hard on the ban list, I still think they're going to be decent contenders. So I think it's still going to be pretty useful. Okay guys, so that was the profile. Hope you all enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below of what you thought about it, and also any ideas you guys have been thinking about of how to play the deck now that Servant's back at 3. Thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you next time.